Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to the third session of the MCQs of Law and Ethics paper. And yes guys, in the last two sessions we had discussed the first 70 of the MCQs of our Law and Ethics paper, and today we are going to study the MCQs from 71st question onwards. And guys, specific attention on MCQs for CMA Foundation students. Why? Because you are aware that in future the exam of foundation will be conducted in an MCQ format only. Since in the future the exam of CMA foundation will be conducted in an MCQ format, therefore it is very important to do the MCQs properly and practice them over and over again. So let's start the MCQ number 71. So we were doing MCQs of the Contract Act, Indian Contract Act, and we'll continue that series, guys. So question 71. Capacity to contract has been defined in. So which section defines the capacity to contract? Sir, section 11 defines the capacity to contract. The right answer is B. Competency to contract means, what do you mean by competency to contract? Now what is the meaning of a person who is competent to contract? A. Age of the parties. Is age of the parties relevant to competency of contract? B. Soundness of mind of the parties. Parties are of sound mind or not? That is B. C. Both A and B. D. Intelligence of the parties. Guys, soundness or competence of the parties is dependent on the soundness of mind of the parties and the age. The intelligence is not relevant. Whether you are an intelligent person or an unintelligent person, you can enter into a valid contract. So intelligence is of no relevance. So the answer is C, both A and B. Yes, C. Question number 73. Which of the following is not competent to contract? So a person who's not competent to contract: minor, sir, he is not competent to contract for sure. Unsound mind, not competent to contract. Person who has been disqualified from law for contracting with someone, again not qualified to contract. So the answer is D. Sir, all of these are not competent to contract. Yes, sir. Question number 74. A minor's agreement is void. This was held in the case of, now you have to remember the case law where minor's agreement is held void. Mohiri Bibi versus Dharamdas Ghosh, Nihal Chand versus Jan Mohammad Khan, Suraj Narayan versus Sukhu Ahir, Chanaiya versus Ramaiya. Sir, the correct answer is A. Mohiri Bibi versus Dharamdas Ghosh is the case in which minor's agreement is termed as void. Minor agreement is void. This was adjudicated in the case of Mohiri Bibi versus Dharamdas Ghosh. The age of majority for the purpose of Indian Contract Act. Now what is the age of majority for Indian Contract Act purposes? Guys, again, different laws of the country have different age limits. So for example, in India, the right age for drinking is 21 or 25. It's not 18. Don't think that you are 18, you are eligible to drink. No, you are not. So age limit is defined as per the Indian Contract Act. The age limit is 18 years. It's not 16, it's not bifurcated between boys and girls, it's 18 years. So the correct answer is C. Okay, sir. Question number 76. A minor's agreement can be ratified on attaining majority. Ratified, the word ratified means approved. So an agreement with the minor can be approved. So you know that the basic principle is that an agreement with the minor is not valid. But when he attains majority, so when he attains the age of 18, can he ratify, can he approve the agreement which he had entered when he was a minor? Can he approve that agreement? He can say, okay, that agreement which I had entered into at that point in time, I was a minor, so I now approve that agreement and that agreement is valid. Can it happen? Answer is no. Agreement with a minor is void ab initio. It is not existent and it becomes void, it becomes bad in law. A minor, when he attains the age of majority, he should enter into a fresh agreement. A new agreement is to be entered into when the minor enters the age of majority. So the correct answer is false. This statement is false, that a minor's agreement can be ratified on attaining majority. No, the minor agreement with minor is void ab initio. It's over, it's completely finished. Okay, sir. Question number 77. Dash are goods suitable to condition in life of the minor and to his actual requirements at the time of sale and delivery. Necessaries, goods, lifestyle products, luxuries. So guys, agreement with a minor is void, is not valid, but agreement to sell certain goods is valid. What are those goods? Sir, those goods are necessaries. So when you supply some necessities to the minor, necessities are food, clothing and shelter. When you supply necessities to a minor, guys, at that point in time, you are automatically gaining a right to recover the amount from the estate of the minor. That sacrifice of yours, or that money spent of yours would not go waste. So the answer is necessaries. Necessaries, if you buy for a minor, it will be reimbursed to you. It will be reimbursed to you in from the estate of the minor at a given point in time. Okay, sir. Consensus ad idem means, so guys, this is a Latin phrase, consensus ad idem, general consensus. B, meeting of minds upon same thing in the same sense. C, reaching an agreement. D, reaching of contract. Guys, we have studied it in detail that consensus ad idem means meeting of mind upon the same thing in the right sense. So Mr. A asked Mr. B to sell his car. Mr. A has two cars. Mr. A was wanting to sell car number 1. Mr. B was wanting to purchase car number 2. Mr. A didn't specify which car was he willing to sell. This fortifies, or this neglects the principle of consensus ad idem. And if this principle is neglected, then the contract is void. So consensus ad idem is that two minds should meet upon the same thing in the same sense. So this is the principle of consensus ad idem. Question number 79. A contract which is formed without free consent of parties is valid, is illegal, or is voidable, or is void ab initio. So guys, one of the parties has not consented to the contract and the consent was not free, it was forceful. So this particular contract is voidable at the option of parties whose consent is not free. So at the option of that party whose consent is not free, this contract is voidable contract. So the answer is C. Of course, in the examination, you need not write the description, you need not write the explanation. Question number 80. Contracts under unilateral mistake are dash if such mistakes is caused by fraud or misrepresentation of other party. So if any contract, there is a unilateral mistake, means one party is under a mistake, R dash if such mistake is caused by fraud or misrepresentation by the other party. The other party has misrepresented, and such contract, one of the parties is under a mistaken belief, is under a wrong belief, and the other party had entered into a coercive measure. Other party has misrepresented, or other party has pursuant to a fraud convinced the first party, and the first party is convinced, but the matter of convincing is not true, is incorrect, then this kind of contract is void, guys, because the other party has given his consent under a mistake. And if it's a unilateral mistake, then such contracts are void. Even if these are a bilateral mistake, then also these contracts are void. Okay, sir. Mistake as to foreign law. So if you do not know the legal provisions of a foreign country, mistake as to foreign law is treated in the same manner as mistake of Indian law, as mistake of fraud, as misrepresentation or fraud. So the answer is as a mistake of fraud, as a mistake of fact. So there are two kinds of mistake of law and mistake of fact. Mistake of law means Indian law. If you are mistaking in some foreign law, then that will be treated as mistake of fact, and it will be accordingly treated in our Indian Contract Act, the penal provisions or the consequences which are there with respect to the mistaken fact that will be applied to the person who has mistaken in foreign law. But if you have mistaken in Indian law, then guys that will be treated as per the mistake of law, and the repercussions are very different from mistake of fact. So these are very different things. Okay sir, we got it. Although sir, we sometimes don't remember what had we studied, but still sir, practicing MCQs is more important. If an agreement suffers from an uncertainty, so if an agreement suffers from some uncertainty, it is voidable, void, unenforceable or illegal. So guys, if there is any uncertainty, so if I say that, okay, buy me a shirt and I will pay you the money. A shirt, it is uncertain. Which shirt is it? If any contract is suffering from uncertainty, then guys that contract is a void contract. That contract is neither voidable nor unenforceable, but it is a void contract. So the answer is B. Okay sir, got it. Okay, let's come on to question number 83. All illegal agreements are void ab initio, valid, contingent and enforceable. Illegal means whose object or whose purpose is illegal. So if I give a contract to you to kill someone or to have some personal injury towards someone, that is an illegal agreement. Sir, all illegal agreements are void ab initio. They hold no sanctity in eyes of law. They are not enforceable in eyes of law, and all those contracts are unenforceable. They are void ab initio. From the basis they are unlawful. Yes sir. Okay, question number 84. A promise to give money or money's worth upon the determination or ascertainment of an uncertain event is called. So I will give you some money or money's worth, which means I will give you some gold or some silver or some money's worth, some value on determination of an uncertain event. So I'll give you an example. Amitabh Bachchan's son Abhishek Bachchan and daughter-in-law Aishwarya Bachchan, when they were expecting their baby, there was a huge what do we call it, at gambling in the country whether it will be a boy or a girl. So a money consideration is promised to be paid on an event which is uncertain. These are known as wagering contracts. Gambling is the incorrect word. It is a non-technical word. The legal word is wagering, but it means the same. So they are known as the wagering agreements. They are not unlawful, they are not illegal, they are not voidable, but they are wagering contracts, and the answer is A. Of course, there are other laws in the country which treat these agreements as illegal. Any kind of gambling, any kind of wagering, any kind of thing which is dependent on chance, the game of chance, like cards which you play, game of chance, all those are illegal in India if money is being exchanged against those games. So yes, other laws of the country treat these as illegal, but the Indian Contract Act treats them as legal, and they are known as wagering contract, although the consequences of such contracts are little different from the normal contracts. Okay sir, we got it. In state of Gujarat and Maharashtra, collateral transaction to a wagering agreement are voidable, illegal and void, valid and enforceable, contingent. So what do you mean by collateral transaction to a wagering agreement? Guys, collateral transaction means there is a wagering agreement between two parties. Two parties are entering into a contract whereby they are betting upon an uncertain event. They are having a bet on an uncertain event. Now that betting on uncertain event, if one of the parties asks the other party to keep some collateral security with him, so that if the other party loses the bet, if he doesn't pay, then the money will be recovered from the property. So I'll give you an example. Mr. A, Mr. B. Mr. A promises to pay Mr. B a sum of 1 lakh rupees if it rains today. If it rains today, then A promises to pay B 1 lakh rupees. B asks A, oh A, I don't trust you whether you will pay 1 lakh rupees or not. It's better you keep your watch with me. This is known as a collateral agreement with a wagering contract. Guys, in state of Gujarat and Maharashtra, such contracts are illegal and void. Gujarat doesn't permit any such contracts which are dependent on future uncertainty. Maharashtra doesn't permit any such contract which are based on future uncertainty. So yes, these agreements are illegal and void. Answer is B. Okay, sir. Question number 86. A contingent contract is a contract to do or not to do something if such event collateral to such contract happens or does not happen. C, neither A or B. D, last one is D. So this is neither A or B, and last one is D, either A or B. So now we are dealing with contingent contract. Contingent contracts are contracts which are dependent on some future event, happening or non-happening of some future event. These are known as contingent contracts. So guys, these contracts are dependent on happening or does not happen, neither A or B, either A or B. So the answer is either A or B. So contingent contract is a contract to do or not to do such contract or not to do something if some event collateral to such contract, which is dependent on such contract or linked with such contract, happens, does not happen, neither A or B, or either A or B. Answer is either A or B. So collateral contract will be executed if something happens. So I'll give you an example. If the hen gives egg, then those egg will be sold to you. Contingent contract, a contract in which the happening of that contract is dependent on some future event. Contingent contract. Okay, sir, we got it. 86. 87. Which of these parties cannot demand performance of promise? So which of these parties cannot demand performance of a particular promise? A, promisee. B, any of the joint promisees. C, on the death of promisee, his legal representatives. D, stranger to the contract. Guys, performance cannot be demanded by a stranger to a contract. But tell me, can consideration be demanded by a stranger to a contract? Yes, sir. Performance cannot be demanded by a stranger, but consideration can be demanded by a stranger. We had discussed this aspect in detail in our lectures. So, stranger to a contract is the right answer. Question number 87. Let's move on to question number 88. If a new contract is substituted in place of an existing contract, it is called, so if a new contract comes into force and the existing contract is to be done away with, then this is known as alteration, or it is known as recession, or it is known as novation, or it is known as waiver. Guys, we had studied it is known as novation. Alteration means any terms and condition is altered. Rescind the contract means you treat the original contract as completely invalid. Do away with the contract. Waiver means you waiver some condition of one of the parties of a particular contract. You waive one of the condition, any one of the condition, that is known as waiver. So the correct answer is novation, which means existing contract is overridden by the new contract. This is known as novation of the contract. Okay, sir. The phrase quantum merit literally means, what do you mean by quantum merit? Guys, the quantum merit means as much as is earned. The fact in itself. C, a contract of sale. D, as much as is gained. So guys, the quantum merit principle applies in the Contract Act as a penalty to the Contract Act. Penalty means if you ditch upon a particular contract, then you are required to repay as much as is earned. This is the principle of quantum merit. As much as is earned should be repaid back. So the answer is A. Quantum merit means as much as is earned. Okay, sir. Got it. Damage is awarded to compensate the injured party for actual amount of loss. So damages, if we pay for injured party for actual amount of loss suffered by him for breach of contract, are called, what are these damages called? That is what the question is asking you. Okay, sir. General or ordinary damages, special damages, vindictive damages, nominal damages. Sir, the answer is A. General or ordinary damages. Any damage which is paid to the injured party for any loss which the injured party has suffered due to breach of contract by one of the parties, that is known as a general or a ordinary damage. Yes, sir. An agreement enforceable by law is An agreement which has the element of enforceability by the law. What do you mean by that element? We are now come on to very basics of our chapter, the initial 2-3 pages of our chapter. Yes sir, it is called a promise, B a contract, C an obligation, and D lawful promise. Sir, without any doubt, a contract. So guys, a promise, an offer and an acceptance. Offer, acceptance means promise. Promise clubbed with consideration means agreement. Agreement clubbed with enforceability means a contract. This is the relationship between offer, promise and contract. Yes sir, we remember it. So next is 92, question number 92. A contract is a combination of two elements. A contract is a combination of two elements, an agreement and an promise. An agreement and obligation, promise and an obligation. Okay, these are the third thing, and an offer and an acceptance. So contract is a combination of two. Let's read once more. An agreement and a promise. Guys, when agreement and promise meets, then you form a contract. Next, an agreement and an obligation. When agreement meets with legal enforceability or obligation to do something, then it becomes a contract. Promise or obligation, offer and an acceptance. Obvious answer is B. When agreement meets with legal obligation, it becomes a contract. Okay sir. Question number 93. A proposal when accepted becomes a, when you accept a proposal, what does it become? Sir, needless to say, without any doubt, it becomes a promise. So the answer is promise. Guys, these are the basics of our Indian Contract Act, and I hope you are able to quickly get the answer, because time is of essence in this particular examination. Okay sir, got it. So question number 94. A void agreement is one which is valid but not enforceable, enforceable, enforceable by any party, not enforceable in law. Guys, the right answer is a void agreement means which lacks enforceability, which is not enforceable in law. An agreement which lacks enforceability is a void agreement. Okay sir, got it. Question number 95. The agreement which are not contracts. So the agreements which are not contracts, we have been given 4 options. Number 1, Mr. A purchases goods from Mr. B. Avanshu supplies goods to Mohit's firm. An agreement for watching cinema. None of the above. Guys, this is not a contract because it is a social agreement. Social agreement are not contracts. Yes sir. So this is not a contract. So the answer is C. An agreement for watching cinema is not a contract. So let's move on to question number 96. Which one is correct? You have to tell us that which one of the statement is correct. All contracts are agreements. Sir, contract is equal to agreement plus enforceability. So yes, naturally, all contracts are agreements. Without being an agreement, it cannot form a contract. So all contracts are at the first stage agreement. Agreement plus enforceability becomes a contract. So yes, very true. This is very true that all the contracts are agreements. All contracts are agreements. Okay, sir. B part. All agreements are contracts. No, sir. Only those agreements which have enforceability inbuilt in them, those are known as contracts. Only those agreements which have enforceability in it, they are known as contracts. So sir, this is false. For sure, this is false. Option number 3. All agreements are not contracts. Yes sir, this is true. Only those agreements who club within themselves enforceability becomes contract. So third part is also true, that all agreements are not contracts. So what is the right answer? Right answer is both A and C. So guys, it's very confusing. Unless and until your basics are strong, your concepts are strong, you will not be able to adjudge the answer and take the correct answer. So please choose the correct option properly. Question number 97. An agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one party. That agreement is known as valid contract, void contract, voidable contract, or illegal contract. Needless to say, without any doubt, voidable contract. A contract which is enforceable by one of the parties on the will of one of the parties, they are known as voidable contract. Unless until one of that party treats that contract as void, it will remain valid. So it is known as a voidable contract. Perfect. Correct answer is C. Question number 98. Which of the following is false? You have to tell us which of the following is incorrect. A. An offer must be clear, definite, final and complete. This is very, very true. An offer has to be clear, has to be definite, has to be final and complete. True. Option number 2. Offer can be vague. No sir, this is false. Offer cannot be vague, guys. Offer has to be definite. Offer has to be specific. Offer has to be certain. Yes sir, we agree. Must be communicated. True. Offer has to be communicated. There is nothing called uncommunicated offer. Yes, there is something called implied offer, but that is relevant to very, very specific instances like bus stopping at a bus stop. It is not applicable generally. General rule is communication is essential. True. Must be general or specific. Yes. Offer can be general. Offer can be specific. General offer means which is given to public at large. Specific offer means which is given to an individual or a group of individuals. So yes, offer can be specific or general. So my answer will be B. The false statement is that offer can be vague. No, offer cannot be vague. Okay, sir. Question number 99. An offer may lapse by. Offer, how will you lapse the offer? Offer may lapse by revocation, counter offer, if you receive a counter offer, rejection by offeree, if offeree rejects it. D, all of the above. Answer is all of the above, guys. If you revoke the offer, if the offer is lapped by revocation, that the offer is revoked, that the person who is being offered, the person who is making the offer revokes the offer. He takes back the offer within time limit. Offer is finished. Second, by counter offer. So if Mr. A tells Mr. B, okay, Mr. B, please buy my watch at 1 lakh rupees. Mr. B gives a counter offer. Please sell me your watch at 80,000 rupees. Offer gets extinguished. The original offer gets finished. Third, rejection by offeree. If the offeree rejects, offerer offers something, offeree rejects, offer is gone, lapse. So answer is D, all of the above. Question number 100, which of the following is false? An acceptance must be communicated, must be absolute. Again, you have to tell what is false, what is incorrect, and you have to choose the incorrect option. Must be communicated, yes, true. Must be absolute, true. Must be unconditional, true. Offer, the acceptance must be unconditional. You do not have to put any condition while accepting the offer. You cannot say, oh, I will buy this watch if you give me a handkerchief along with it free. No, not a valid acceptance. D, may be presumed from silence of the offeree. Now this is incorrect. Guys, acceptance has to be given in as many words. It has to be given in a concrete way. It cannot be presumed from the silence of the offeree. So the correct answer is D. Offer, the acceptance must not be presumed from silence of the offeree. 101. In case of illegal agreement, the collateral agreement are. So in case of illegal agreement, guys, if there are some collateral agreement to the illegal agreements, then what are the repercussions of those collateral agreement? Now let me tell you what are the collateral agreement to the illegal agreement. Guys, there's an illegal agreement that Mr. A will kill some person and Mr. B will remunerate Mr. A 5 lakh rupees. And agreement is attached to that agreement that out of those 5 lakh rupees, Mr. A is going to invest that money in the company of B. So it's a collateral agreement which is attached to the main illegal agreement. So there are two agreements, but the second agreement is attached or linked to the main agreement. So collateral agreement is an agreement which is attached to an illegal agreement. So collateral agreement is legal. The original agreement is illegal. This is the situation. So what is the fate of collateral agreement? Or how would you treat such collateral agreements? It is valid, it is void, voidable, none of the above. Of course it's void, because it arises from, its source is as illegal agreement. So it is void. Any collateral agreement which is a collateral to illegal agreement is void. Answer is B. Okay, sir, got it. An offer by post may be accepted by post over telephone, both A and B. So over telephone as well as by post, both methods are acceptable. None of the above. So an offer made by post, guys, must be accepted by post only. Answer is A. Yes, that is a prime condition. If anyone has given you a postal offer, then it has to be accepted by post only. You can answer that particular offer using post only. You cannot use any other method of accepting that particular offer. Okay, sir, got it. Question number 103. An offer is made only when the letter is posted, letter reaches the offeree post his acceptance, or none of the above. So you have to tell us that when is the offer made? When will you say that offer is made? Guys, the offer is made when the letter reaches the offeree and it comes to the knowledge of the offeree. That is the prime condition of offer being complete. Now your offer is complete. So offer is made only when it reaches the offeree. Answer is B. Okay, sir. Which of the following is true? Now you have to tell which statement is true. Rest of the statements will be false. One will be true. Consideration must result in benefit to both the parties. Past consideration is no consideration in India. Guys, we know that this is false. Past consideration is a consideration in India. Past consideration is not a consideration in English law. Yes, sir, we remember. Consideration is adequate. Consideration should be adequate. Consideration is adequate. Consideration must be something which is promiser is not bound to do. So consideration should be something which the promiser is not bound to do. He gets something in return. Okay, sir. So the correct answer is A. Consideration must result in benefit to both the parties. Both the parties should be benefited out of the consideration. No, consideration cannot, it can be past consideration. Adequacy is not required in consideration. Indian law says even if it is inadequate consideration, it will be a valid consideration. And consideration must do something which is promiser is not bound to do. No, consideration cannot force the promiser to do something which he is not required to do, which he is not bound to do. So the correct answer is consideration must result in both, result in benefit to both the parties. Okay, question number 105. Which of the following statement is false? You have to tell which of the statement is false. Okay, sir. Consideration must move at the desire of promiser. Very true. Guys, consideration always moves at the desire of the promiser. If promiser wants, he will give the consideration. If he doesn't want, he will not give the consideration. So yes, consideration must move at the desire of the promiser. May move from any person. Yes, guys, the consideration may move from the promiser, as well as the consideration may also move from any third person who is not party to the contract. The consideration may also move from any third person. It is not an embargo in law. Must be illusionary. No, guys, this is the incorrect part. It cannot be imaginary. Okay, we want to fetch stars. I will take you to moon. These are illusionary. Okay, taking to moon might be a little non-illusionary because today man has reached moon, but fetching stars is an illusionary consideration. Cannot happen so. Must be of value. Yes, it should be of value. So the correct answer is C. Next, which of the following is true? You have to tell me which one of the following statement is true. There can be stranger to a contract. Yes, guys, there can be a stranger to a contract. There can be stranger to a consideration. Okay, there can be stranger to a contract and consideration. None of the above. So guys, there can be a stranger to a consideration, but there cannot be a stranger to a contract. Privity of contract. We have studied a concept of privity of contract, which means only the parties to a contract have the legal right to enforce upon the rights or obligations on each other. Privity of contract. So stranger of contract cannot be there. So the first part is untrue. Second part is true, that there can be a stranger to consideration. Consideration can be received from a stranger as well. Second part is true. There can be a stranger to contract and consideration. Untrue. And D is of course untrue. None of the above. So the correct answer is B. Yes, sir. Question number 107. Consideration in simple terms mean. What do you mean by consideration? Anything in return, something which is given to you in return, something in return, everything in return, nothing in return. So guys, in common parlance, answer is B. Something in return. You have to give something in return. That is known as consideration. Question number 108. Which of the following statement is false? You have to tell one of the statement which is false. Rest of them are true. Generally, a stranger to contract cannot sue. Perfect. Correct. Privity to contract is the underlying principle, that stranger to contract cannot sue. A verbal promise to pay a time bar debt is valid. Guys, false. A verbal agreement to pay time barred debt is not valid. Complete completed gifts need no consideration. Very true. If a gift is complete, then you need not have any consideration. No consideration is necessary to create a agency. This is also true. So the correct answer is B. Okay, sir. Next. Question number 109. A gratuitous promise can. Gratuitous promise means a promise against which there is no consideration. It is given out of gratitude, out of goodness. Can a gratuitous promise can be enforced? Option number 2. Not be enforced in court of law. None of the above. Answer is B. Cannot be enforced. A gratuitous contract cannot be enforced. Question number 110. Ordinarily, a minor's agreement is void ab initio, voidable, valid, unlawful. Of course, sir, needless to say, without any doubt, it is void ab initio. Any agreement with the minor is void ab initio. So guys, with minor, if you are entering into a contract, you are actually hitting hard on your own feet, because minor can enforce contract upon you according to his suitability, but you cannot enforce the contract on minor according to minor's obligations. So a contract to the minor, contract with the minor is void ab initio. So guys, that's all for this particular session of MCQs. And yes, detailed MCQs, all the MCQs which have been compiled especially for CMA Foundation students is there in the link given in the description box below. Go on that link and download all the MCQs which are there, which are compiled specially for you, for your examination, which is forthcoming examination. So yes, we'll be meeting in our next video with another set of MCQs. Till that time, all the very best and happy studying.